Alrighty, it's still Tuesday, and this is Trekland HQ, version 2, yes, and we are live. Hey, New York Comic Con Star Treks. It's okay, it's fine, and we don't know what's coming anyway. Today on episode, 420, 420 of Trekland Tuesdays Live, I wish, with Dr. Trek, Larry Nemeczek. That's me coming at you here from the heart of Trekland through Portal 47, and also the home of Trekland Treks. Did a tour last weekend, a couple of weekends ago, have another one coming up. You can take your own customized away mission here. One of the more fun aspects of the Trekland Empire is seeing people take their own customized away mission that we've worked out together. And guess what? If you need something bigger than a day tour, well, Geek Nation Tours is back. I'll be leading this again for the first time in 10 years. We're bringing back the LA to Vegas multi-day big Star Trek locations tour the week before Star Trek Las Vegas next year. You don't have to go to Vegas, but that's where we end up. You want to check it all out at geeknationtours.com. Just find the Star Trek tour and check it out. That's coming too. Or if the day tour is more your style, I'm your guy. We'll keep it simple here in LA. And speaking of keeping it simple, welcome back. It's another Tuesday here for Trekland Tuesdays Live. Boy, I've been doing this for over 8 years. Kind of crazy, since 2017. This is episode 420. It's not just 420 for the you-know-what. I mean, like, I wish. But hey, it's a rainy day where I am today. Hope you're doing well wherever you are. We do this at this time of Tuesdays so we can get around the world. We're global. If you're new to Trekland Tuesdays Live, welcome. Come on in. Check it out. The say hello, introduce yourself, let us know where you're coming from in the chat. It's the great TTL community there. Let us know what's going on. What's the weather like where you are? How's the trek where you are? And I will get back around to the chat eventually, just to know that if you're coming to us on Facebook, you're only going to see the Facebook comments only. But if you come in on YouTube, you'll see everything in the chat. And also you can take advantage, and I really appreciate it, of the super chat that we have in YouTube now. You could throw a little silver, cross my palms with it, and help us out a little bit with everything Trekland on the streaming site, because I really, really appreciate that. We're in between second opinions right now. I think we'll wrap up con when it's done that way. I'm waiting to see how the scouts are coming. But I guess basically this is kind of a low ebb tide here. We're heading into the holidays, if you include Halloween as a holiday. And, belated happy Thanksgiving to all our Canadian friends, by the way, from last Monday. Monday's the day I recorded, first time in ages, but recorded with our good friend Sean Farrick over at Trek Culture. So check that out. That just dropped today, I think. I mean, come on. The big news-ish is right now that, aside from the Geek Nation Tours tour coming out, which is what we also talked with Sean about, but I guess everybody in Trek world is talking, and why not, about the news coming out of New York Comic Con. Kind of finally, sort of what we'd been waiting for all these weeks, because San Diego seemed a little too early. Nothing was going to be said officially at Vegas, since Vegas isn't licensed. But the Comic Cons, they're not licensed shows by a studio, obviously, but they're the big boy marketplaces where people come in to splash their headlines and drop their news, and count on it being covered worldwide by all the mainstream press, much less the fandom and the genre press and media. So, July was a little too early for what they wanted to dish out here. But there you go, New York Comic Con. And sure, Strange New Worlds had their panel, had their 4th season trailer. I was kind of thrilled to see a little Star Trek back in my Star Trek. Now, before you start talking, before everybody goes down the tangent, that mostly well-received trailer, which seemed like a Star Trek episode with some danger and some working together and a little bit of humor between the lines, some high stakes, some exploring, a little bit of heroics even, all in that mix. Now, whether that's the exact opening seconds of the debut episode, the premiere for season 4, or whether it's a little bit into it. We don't know. Remember, can you believe it? It was just a year ago, New York Comic Con, that we got that teaser for 4.5 Vulcans, which was funky and funny. And little did we know that's kind of the tone of 3/4 of the whole season. But also, that was not the opening scenes of the premiere. Obviously, they didn't promise as such, because we knew there was a cliffhanger to come, right? But it wound up, even of its episode of 4.5 Vulcans, it wound up being after the first 2 or 3 minutes of exposition. So did this jump right in? It seemed kind of abrupt, but then again, it's Star Trek, so maybe they jump in on the run, right? There's no setup. So Strange New Worlds, we kind of know the end game here. Just like Pike, we know the way this is all going to end. They'll have these 10 episodes, and then they'll have that they're in the middle of no, they're done. Then they'll have the 6 after that. Or are they done? But we know there's these 10, 6 more, and that's all she wrote of what used to be the wonder child of the Star Trek franchise, the modern Star Trek franchise. No, I think they split the time, as has happened in the past. I think most of the eyeballs are watching what's going on with Starfleet Academy. Now, over on my Twitter, at Larry Nemechek, yes, I still have Twitter. For one thing, Blue Sky doesn't have some features that Twitter still does, and I'm hoping the toxic balance has kind of caught itself a little bit. Of course, it's not a big election year, so we'll see how that goes. But if you're on Twitter still and can get to my site there, and I will probably add this to Instagram as soon as I can. But I threw this up very quickly. Simple question: are you excited? Are you excited for Starfleet Academy, Trek folk? And that just a little bit ago, there's already been over 20 people vote on it. That's Twitter. It's 3-1. Yes. I had yes, no, I'm going to wait and see, and a meh. So it's like 3-1 yes right now. But go over there and vote. Let yourself be known if you're so inclined. That's my Larry Nemechek Twitter. And of course, if you're not following me, I will still take new follows on Twitter, especially if you're an actual organic person. What a concept. No, I think you can't help but feel a little like regroupy after that season 3 of Starfleet Academy, Strange New Worlds. And Starfleet Academy is what people hopefully feel like there's a little bit of a blank slate about. And we've had a teaser. Now we've had an official trailer. You should know, and this has been coming out, but I don't think it's sunk in all the way. There is an aspect of StarTrek.com, obviously the original site, that I was once very much a part of. That I once wrote the original databases when they had databases. Before obviously Memory Alpha took off, because it was volunteer passion versus what are they going to pay on a payroll. But StarTrek.com has a section that you can go and take your own Starfleet tour. Basically, it's like it's interesting because they have character cards. It's really interesting. There's even something that I've heard, didn't see any references to, but maybe there's a Horta or some kind of a really non-organic organic life form that's listed down among the heroes, down with Kirk and Cisco and Janeway and everybody. So we'll see what happens with that. Most of them are Starfleet alumni. Obviously, Burnham is not a Starfleet Academy alumnus. She went to Vulcan Science Academy, boy howdy, and there's nothing we hate more than people who change their college transcripts. But anyway, if you go to StarTrek.com, it's a interactive section. It's called Visit the Campus, and it's an interactive portal. You can go there, meet the faculty, and all that. It's got some fun stuff in it. Now, what's interesting is for New York Comic Con, as opposed to San Diego, which was blandly promoting just Paramount Plus with some really bland stuff. It was not all Star Trek, and what Star Trek they had was really limited. Well, now you get it. It was a matter of timing. They went all in on Starfleet Academy as the new kid on the block with their floor. I mean, it wasn't there, but looking at the reporting, There was an interactive booth. You make your own card. You could do some stuff. You could have some fun. But it was all about big time promoting Starfleet Academy. There were recreated sections. It was a big walkthrough. It was a big presence for one of the main entrances to the Javits Center. So they're making a big splash. Of course, a lot of that is it's just closer to debut time. The trailers, the promos have caught up. Now, look, there is a whole slew of reporting. There's also a whole slew of characters and new actors, and we're still getting our heads around them. I saw some of them live at San Diego. There were a lot more on stage here. Academy's got some faces that you do know, and this is what gets me. Say what you will about the reaction to all of Kurtzman Trek of the Secret Foundation, how Hidden Frontiers. You know what I mean? Secret Hideout. I used to do that on purpose. Yeah, no, it's only 420 day today by sheer coincidence, kids. Don't take me there. I mean, I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about all this. Lots of news, but I'd be silly if I'm going to try to duplicate all the hardcore news reporting, the fanish media, and also the mainstream media. You can find all the stories, the quotes, what Holly Hunter is saying, what Paul Giamatti is saying, what all the new cadet kids are saying, all of that. Yeah, more and more is coming out. I don't know. I think you're with me. This whole thing about we're still learning the names, right? Tripping over some of this. God, so many names, so many species. And one thing that's interesting, a couple of things have been said that I am looking forward to about the series. One, a couple of years ago, when people were starting to pull their hair out over the magic future tech, unexplained, of Discovery, why are detached nacelles so cool and more powerful and not more vulnerable to attack? Why? What are the rules of protomatter aside from just being cool and magic-y looking? That's what drove a lot of people crazy as Discovery kind of oozed its way along still. And Alex Kurtzman promised Starfleet Academy would start to lay the future technology of the future period, the 800 years to 32nd century. So one thing is I want to start seeing if we indeed have some boundaries. I'm not expecting a tech manual for the 32nd century. I'm not expecting a good old tech guide to nail all this down in advance so that the writers have it ready. That doesn't seem to be the way of the modern era, sadly. Not my advice, but I'm looking forward to at least having some of that explained and nailed down. But there also has been a trend, and part of this, I think, is to distinguish this whole 800 years in the future. Yeah, we saw it with Discovery. I think they did take advantage of that to a point. You found out that Vulcan and Romulus finally did reconcile. Navarre, right? Even going back to old fan fiction to find the name Navarre as a union. You saw what happened when United Earth. The humans who wanted to stay open-minded and stay with the Federation and not be fearful did so. And the rest of the Earth that stayed behind, fearful and closed in and xenophobic, got a little reactionary. It's almost like the worst impulses of humanity, if you know what I mean, went dark and had to kind of be slapped around and shown how silly they were. And then they saw the light and kind of inched back, obviously, and rejoined. So they had some little, Trill. We found out what was going on. So nothing with Klingons. We've got a Klingon character here. Okay, yay. But again, everything is 800 years in the future. A lot of fans who wanted to enjoy this future setting just wanted to know, can we have some catch-ups? Can we know what's happened? 800 years is a long time, and 1 or 2 or 3 episodes aren't going to sketch in 800 years. Now, you had the burn 120, 140 years before this. They're recovering from that with Discovery, and this is just adding on to that. They're going to reopen Starfleet Academy. It's been gone for, a century and a half. And take that and run with it. If you're going to establish this, then okay. If you're going to establish the Romulan supernova, no matter what you thought of the idea at the time, okay, well then take it and run with it and have some ripple effects from that. Okay, Thank you, Picard. um, take it and run with it. You're not going to fill in 800 years all at once. You don't want to fill it. Have some fun with that. But give the 32nd century some meaning. Don't just have it be what future tech can we jump in. Now, I'm saying all this. Good Lord. They've shot the seasons. They've written both seasons. They're shooting. They're wrapping up. So it's like nothing I'm going to say or anybody else right now is going to make a difference. Maybe in the final tweakings of the second season. But if you're going to go there, then not my choice. But if you're going to go there, embrace it. Don't namby-pamby. Don't act like it's just wallpaper. Embrace the century. Embrace that. So one of the things they seem to have done is say, well, we've only had, even Kirk into Picard, we've only had a couple of 100 years of intergalactic intermingling. Of intergalactic warp speed travel, and jumping into the Delta Quadrant and the Gamma Quadrant for that matter. That's just the initial stirs of the mixing bowl. 800 years is a long time to be bopping around, whatever propulsion it is, whatever the scale of travel and exploration, whatever the known space line is, however expanded it was, in Archer's time, in Kirk's time, in Picard's time. Well, where we are 800 years from now. Are we out of the galaxy? Are we bridging galaxies yet? Talk about the Kelvin timeline. I mean, the original Kelvins. No, all of that's out there. But one of the ways they're addressing that is, and this has been talked about, is having a lot more intermingling of the species. A lot, it's like people don't think so much about, and take this for what you want to use as representation and metaphor and allegory. Our big bad villain here is a Tellarite Klingon hybrid. Our academy, they saying commandant, whatever, she's at least in charge of the gem drills, is a Jem'Hadar hybrid Klingon. You're seeing a lot of that. If you go down the list of all the cadet characters, a lot of them are interspecies marriage. So we're way past the point. Science has caught the point. If you even wanted to debate, if you still want to go back and debate Spock being Vulcan and human, or B'Elanna being Klingon and human, if you want to go back and debate the science of all of that, any of the hybrid species, or just say, well, it's humans that are the most adaptable. Well, some of these, we're seeing that interspecies marriage and offspring procreation. A lot of these characters are reflecting different cultures. Now, is that going to be part of their makeup? Is this first generation in all these cases? 800 years is a long time for everybody to be comfortable with each other, and for science, reproductive science, to catch up, to do whatever you want to do, and people to live that way. We've had a century and a half of the burn, and all these people's lifespans seem to be since the burn. Is that an output? Is that a butterfly effect of the burn and large-scale travel? If you can't be with the one you're with, if you can't be with the one you love the one you're with. Thank you. Did the burn cut down travel so much that everybody just kind of had to see who they were with and get along? I don't know. This is spitballing. I hadn't even thought of that until just this second. But it's a layer, it's a factor, it's a shade of color they wanted to apparently put onto this actively to mix things up a little bit. I'm still trying to figure out how Paul Giamatti is half Klingon and half Tellarite. I don't see much of either one in anything he is. But there you go. Aside from his baldishness and the kind of stock and the pug, we'll see. I don't see a pig nose. The scoring on the faces of some of the other characters, I don't know. But one of the things that I'm hearing that I really didn't think I'd hear about, and it seems to have amplified with this trailer, which was really fascinating to watch. So no, we're not going to break down every frame of the trailer. I let all of our friends across the interwebs do that. But one thing that struck me was, even with the teaser a few weeks back, and then this actual promo feature trailer, is the cadets. And it's funny because it's harking back to the old spout off about, the Starfleet Academy idea has been around ever since Harv Bennett pitched it for the fifth original series movie, with thinking that Kirk, Spock, and McCoy are Dee and Bill and Leonard are getting too old. All of them are getting too old to play action heroes. So here's how we'll do it. We'll have them reminisce, and there'll be a framing device, and they will reminisce about being young bucks at the Academy, and young people will play them and take over. And stop me if you've heard this formula before, only we're one step well, in another universe, maybe. And then younger versions playing Kirk, Spock, McCoy, Scotty, Uhura, well, on Strange New. It's only been, though, 40 years since this idea was floated. 40 years ago, the entire original cast was still with us, but they were looking as a way to do, well, the studio didn't like it, and boy, howdy, when it leaked to fans, and gosh, I wonder who did that. Fandom was not up with recasting their heroes. If you thought the stink about Next Generation with that segment, especially zine fandom, raised a stink, how about that same time period talking about it in the movies as well? Yeah. But the big stink that was raised about doing Academy then, or even floating the idea of an Academy show as Voyager wound down, and they let it be known when Rick Berman was running the franchise, letting it be known they wanted to reboot, they wanted to be fresh. They knew that the mantle of the franchise was going to ride on the next show, Rise or Fall. And the show that turned out to be Enterprise had 2 or 3, 4 different ideas floated. There were focus groups, but one of them was a Starfleet Academy idea. Now, look, in 89, in 2000, the same knock happened. What did people call it? Oh, no, not Star Trek 90210 as a dig at Aaron Spelling's teenage angsty high school show, right? That started off kind of dramatic, family-oriented, and then eventually within a year or two wound up all about the teenagers and these 20-somethings playing teenagers, and then, the tabloid, the National Enquirer end of the gossip journalism. And this was before social media, kids. But how that all turned to, what's Tori Spelling doing now? Who's in, who's out, who's in the show, whatever. It was a launch pad for some careers, some not so much. But it was just so 90s bad Hollywood filter on teenagers in LA, in Beverly Hills. Star Trek didn't want any part of that. Most of fandom. No Star Trek 90210. And neither idea went anywhere, obviously. So we fast forward now to Kurtzman getting his contract, Alex, and all the ideas that were floated a year or so into Discovery, right? Section 31. Nothing was really put out there, but things were hinted at. And then some things were kind of hinted at more strongly than others. Then Anson and his Pike blew up the world with season 2 of Discovery, and that took center stage. That got to the head of the line, the head of the taxi takeoff on the tarmac. And one of those ideas was still a Starfleet Academy. And the generation that was dreading Star Trek 90210, a lot of it had passed on, but you still heard that raised. And my comment all along has been, in the modern age, with streaming, with a lot more care being put into these short 10-episode seasons, I think the fears that people had back in the day and back in the 80s and the early aughts, and where TV was and media and culture and pandering and writing down and the stresses of how to stay on the air, all of that, versus today, my point was, I think it's a lot better time, it's a lot less risky time to introduce an Academy format now than then. I could totally see everything being spellingized. I could totally see it being Star Trek 90210. Even 10, 15 years later, I thought it was too early. The temptations and the media and the stress of business and all of that. Today, not so much. Now, you might disagree, but I really haven't heard, it's not just a generational thing. I've heard generic worries about, and this is what I'm getting to, teen angst, right? Oh, we don't have that many Star Treks. We don't need this for our bit. Okay. So when the idea of Starfleet Academy came up for real this time, apparently on the launching pad, I heard a little bit of the old 90210 murmuring. Not a lot, though. How about you? What did you hear out there? Were you thinking that maybe the time was ripe? Did you think about it at all? Because any concerns that I had at the beginning, what did we start to hear? The minute we heard that there was an Academy premise, what did we hear first? As it got serious, as it got closer and closer out of the gate, where they made decisions, we're going to have Holly Hunter play the Academy. Holly Hunter, okay. Paul Giamatti gets his lifelong wish to be in Star Trek and even play at least halfway a Klingon. Before you saw and heard about any of the closely guarded, may I say, cadets, character bios, and the actors playing them, before you got into any of that, we knew that, Bob Picardo was bringing back the EMH Doctor, 800 years, the original Doctor file running 800 years later. Tig Notaro is going to be Jet Reno. Apparently Mary Wiseman, maybe not as much now, is going to be Tilly. Who else am I leaving out? Dadmiral Odette Fair is going to be Vance in at least some segments, right? So they immediately, and maybe that's easiest, they immediately kind of trot out who you might see. And then we finally did get the kids. And there's, okay, fine. They all look adorable and interesting. And as of San Diego, you started getting backstories and people having their own, what's driving, motivating them and whatever. You've got the search for the lost mother now. You've got the Klingon finding his way. All of this against a backdrop of 800 years in the future. All of us sitting here going, oh, Klingons, oh, Tellarites, oh, these new races. It's 800 years, guys. Whatever little crumbs you picked up from Discovery, what they doled out, it was mainly about Vulcans, Romulans, Trill. We didn't get a lot. We saw some other overlapping races. President Rillick was a Cardassian Bajoran human. That kind of set the tone for this. That you got to think out of the box after 800 years. People are a little more open-minded, or maybe it was just about the burn and where things were for the last 100 years, but even before that. So worry about the technology updating enough in our real-time 10 years, 20 years to show how to spring ahead that far and differentiate it from even the 24th century tech creeping into the 25th. But some of this is the social, cultural, that goes along with that. What's the spread of colonization? What's the spread of just making routine travel and mixing and populating? What does that look like? And then you interrupt it with the burn. But, there was 650-ish years, over 6 centuries before the burn of this gradual. Was it just a gradual? Were there just still gradual adversarial conflicts? You got the Tholians and the Breen over there. And, well, the Breen still there at the end of Discovery even. So you had that to play with. But what's funny is just since this promo trailer came out and we saw the cadets, being older teenagers, I've started to hear the old 90210, 90210. And I just want to say, guys, it's okay. It's okay. You're going to have to let the cadets be cadets. The difference is the whole damn show going to be about them? Is it going to go all in Tori Spelling 90210 here? Or do you have enough of these adult legacy characters who are parts of their lives and their goals and their ambitions, much less interacting with each other? Are there enough of them to offset your fear? Very cool Academy ship. Again, we're going to blow things up. It's going to be based in San Francisco, but you've had 100 and something years. You had Earth saying no thank you to anything Federation, anything xenophobic or multiphobic, or multi-xeno. What's the word there? Remember, the welcome mat was not out at Earth up until just recently. So there were no facilities. So you had the independent academy kind of tucked into Starfleet, tucked into a Federation HQ floating station. No academy, no actual academy. You had the beginnings of a startup, right? The episode with Tilly and her startup cadets, really green out of the gate and the process and whatever. But now we're back on Earth. We've got the campus reestablished, and you've got this USS Athena. So you've got ship tech, you've got ship porn to explore. 32nd century. do the Athenas and the cells? I don't know. I haven't sat down and done the frame breakdown. You've got all the futuristic stuff to play with, but at the same time, you've got a ton of cadets here. It'll be interesting. These sets are kind of amazing. The stand-up pop-up at New York Comic Con, there's a science botany lab that's part of this huge big set they've spent that's unlike anything else they've done before for a Trek. It's not just there's ship sets, but the whole thing is not about corridors and where's the transporter room and where's engineering. There's some of that, but there's a lot more beyond that. And you had some of those experiences reflected in the pop-up, in the not pop-up, in the floor, in the exhibit hall booth for Paramount Plus for Strange New at New York Comic Con. So that wasn't going to happen in the summer. They had to wait for the timings to catch up. So, okay, too bad you didn't have New York's exhibit back in July. That would have been awesome. But it was too much, too fast, too soon. I had to wait. Okay, fine. I hope, is that going to make the rounds next spring? Will it show up on the other end of the cycle? Will it be up for July? We'll see. That's a long ways away. So, yeah. So the overlapping species, these 800-year, I see the threads to play with if they will just use the universe of this century and really get in and wallow around in it and use it. There might be, I know you're worried, some people worried about the teen angst. Well, you've had it, everybody's coupling up. Well, that's going to happen. They're healthy, hopefully healthy young species. Apparently species have been overreaching, overmixing. Apparently a lot of those kind of barriers and thoughts are down, which again plays into where our mindset is right now. So some of that may be beyond. We'll see where the hopefully really honest drama in their young lives comes from. Some of it's eternal. They're being driven by parents. They're being driven away from parents. Parental, their bigger goals in life has something to do with trauma they've been through. And the Sam hologram character, Karis Brooks's character, look, I can actually say one, is going to be intriguing too. In the fact that you've got Picardo's original EMH there is going to be interesting. But yeah. Keeping the species in their boxes, that's so 24th century. So we'll see. Now keeping other things like in your pants, we'll see how that goes. But I really don't think that's going to be an issue. We'll see. I'm just going on the vibe and what we've seen. You're going to expect some of it, but the cast is balanced out enough with some overarching themes and some overarching drives and goals and motivations and what's at stake for people. And we know it's not going to be stuck in San Francisco. The whole thing about getting out and getting to the frontier, the border. What are the crises left? You just had a whole thing with the Breen. Are there new big bads out there? Are the Klingons and Romulans? Oh, not Romulans. Are the Klingons and Cardassians so neighborly local space that they're not an issue? And now we're finally beyond that? Could be. But I heard the whole 90210 wave come up watching this trailer. I've seen it around. And I thought, really? Really, gang? It could be so much worse. If an Academy show was put together in 89, a movie, much less a series, if that had been part of the 90s, I just think that the guardrails and the safeguards, not just by the producers, but the world at large, the market, the media being in flux, people being cautious now, producers, the money people, streaming pulling back. We're not in the era, obviously not the era of peak TV, peak cinematic TV anymore. Things are becoming more restrained. And, Paramount itself is in flux. And that's the third part of what I'm talking about today. What you saw coming out of New York Comic Con, I think it's okay. I think it's fine. But I got to admit something. Everything already feels like short timers. We've got Strange New, its fate is known. And I'm not talking about Pike and the Telosians. You've got that. You've got, 2 seasons, 20 episodes of Academy done or soon to be done. And maybe that's it. And again, remember, everything about Alex Kurtzman is Secret Hideout. That's his contract to run the empire, to run the franchise. On the TV side, even. Apparently, it's been gray about doing movies. They've made some little footsteps, but even in the mess of Paramount the last 2 or 3 or 4 years, no one pushed that. There was always push toward the JJ side or whatever, or just independent voices coming up with the Origins movie. And we'll see what that is, but that's still not changing in the flux. But there's nothing to stop, apparently, him not being renewed as the franchise runner. But if Academy is deemed to be biggest thing since sliced bread's my tired old phrase, or even if it's not, if there's just a need to have something cover the gap until people are put in place to be the next TV showrunner, maybe it happens. Maybe it gets a 3rd season. There's nothing to stop renewing the series just because the executive producer is no longer running the franchise. Most of the time when human relationships and ego and reality are involved in business, especially business and media, those kinds of things don't happen. But then again, stranger things have happened. And timing and bridging gaps and standing up a new empire, if the focus is on movies and nothing is done on the TV side, that's enough. And we've talked about that before. I've talked about that with everybody. We talk about that all the time in the Portal 47 Ask Dr. Trex. And here, we don't know where that's going. But my big gut feeling is within a year, we'll know what the longer term, the next chapter of Star Trek's storied franchise history is. We'll get through to the 60th and there'll be a big look back. It just will be a little harder to look forward. Same way as it was, ironically, with the 50th. In 2016, we knew there was a new Trek being made, seemed to be having some birth pangs, some labor pains, but we at least knew something mysterious was coming, but not much beyond that. And it was still, again, kind of a celebration of looking backward. Plenty to celebrate. A lot of things being seen in fresh eyes, celebrating. We were barely with the understanding of how awesome DS9 and Voyager were and how they'd been under-received when they were still on linear TV versus the Netflix revolution, the bingeable revolution. And it was even creeping over to Enterprise. So it's not like it's not a new world, a new vibe, a new landscape. But we're kind of going to be in that same situation. So yeah, enjoy these. I just wonder, I just feel, I can't help but I just wonder what's coming next. Even though we've got 36 hours to see here, I already feel like my attention's on the next round. That's not to knocking these shows. I want to enjoy Academy, whether it only gets these 2 seasons or actually has a 3rd. It'll be its own marker. We live in this era of the 10-episode seasons. They are what they are. It's what you get. We can rail about it. Maybe the world around us will evolve and we can do more than 10 episodes a season, a year apart. We'll see. We'll see what the future brings. We'll see what the new leadership at Paramount brings. We'll see what the market brings. We'll see what the culture of our Earth brings. But for right now, I'm just sitting back, waiting for all of this to be kind of spoon-fed to me, thrown at me, knowing that a year from now, this too shall pass. Not that I don't want to enjoy it, but my curiosity is really, really, really on what turn small screen Star Trek, which is the heart and soul of Star Trek. What's going to happen to small screen Star Trek in a year? Will it be abandoned again in favor of flashier Big Brother on the big screen? Or will we keep having bridging moments? Will there be anything definite? And if it is a definite stroke, what will we think about it? Who will be doing it? What will we think about it? All questions still to be answered. All tempering the news, good as it was to see, of some of these long overdue, the ripple effects even of the COVID slowdowns, seeing what's coming up. So, yeah, I invite you. Hopefully I'll get it up on my Instagram too. But for right now, if you have Twitter access, go over to my profile and jump in and weigh in if you are excited, looking forward. That's the word I said. Are you looking forward to Starfleet Academy? I'm just curious to see here. Yes, 8 people have voted since I put it up. Anyway, gang, we will take a break here. Look, if you're watching us on YouTube later, I want to say welcome. We do this live on Tuesdays, 1-ish Pacific, 4-ish Eastern, and 9-ish UK time, and 10-ish Central Europe. Love for you to come on and join us live. But if you're watching us later on YouTube, jump in the comments. I'm really not trying to have a gratuitous, I love Academy, I hate Academy. I don't really want to get there, because I feel like we've been through all that kind of black and whiting here. We're kind of into a more nuanced place. I feel like the kids are all getting older, and we don't have to go back to the basics. We've been around streaming. We've been around these series and the variety that they can offer. So I'm just curious. Jump in the poll if you like. But hey, if you are watching us later, that's still up. Try to catch us live if you could sometime. Meanwhile, right here, right now, we're going to take a mini break, and then I'll come back and I will dive into this chat. So everybody on with me live. But meanwhile, just a real quick reminder that, yes, not to be confused, the Trekland Treks are the day tours that I offer after working it out with you, what you want to do for a day trip, 4 stops, fast food lunch in the middle of it. I concierge you. I chauffeur you. We have a blast. I'll wrangle your cosplay. I'll help you with props. I'll help you with your stuffed animals. I'll help you with your action. Whatever your Trek vacation entails, we'll get it done. We'll plan as much as we can ahead of time, so hopefully no LA surprises. That is a Trekland Trek. That's all year long, gang. What I'm really excited about is to bring back, with my buddy Terrace, the big GNT. You could even get the QR code there. The big GNT tour, multi-day, the week before August, the week before Vegas, next year, 2026. It's the 60th anniversary. People are excited for the 60th. That's cool. A lot of people weren't around for the 50th. So yay. Here's one more aspect that you can celebrate with us. Check it out, geeknationtours.com. I'll eventually have a link at my site, but we'll have actors. You saw who was in Tim Russ and Armin Sherman, Mike Westmore, Sirach, Bobby Clark. We have a couple more to announce, hopefully by the first of the year. So we're kind of celebritizing all of the stops with people tied to that stop. But to me, the tour is all about the tour and your experience being there. Finally seeing it for real. And again, it's so much more than Vasquez Rocks. That's what we do for the days. And a couple of new places that have previously been unapproachable. So check it out at geeknationtours.com. And the whole description's there. Everything is right there. This year, the Valley of Fire trip in Vegas, out to Valley of Fire, where Kirk died in Generations, that's being offered again as a single one-day too. So if you're only coming into Vegas and you just have that day ahead of time and you want to jump on with us, you can. But again, you don't have to go to the Vegas convention to take the tour. We'll wind up there unless you want to bail out on the last day or something here in LA. But you don't. It's not required, right? It's not. It's not part of that. They don't overlap. Yeah. But before I go, I got to thank all my Patreon folk. This is this month's. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Our TTLers, Chuck A., James Kerwin, Diana Hopkins, Halbert Gunnjonson, Lawrence Todd, Chris Jiggins, Mitch Keith Rombach, Josh Patton, Pranakasha Productions, and Comedy Forecast. And then our live wires. Yep. J.R. Poole, Gary Williamson, Rob McLean, Byron Bailey, Donna S. Runyon, Brandon Coles, Dave Gregory, Jesse at Crusher Convo, Chris Garris, and Casey Shafsky. Hey, that's the $5 and the $10, folks. Very simple, very simple. Patreon.com/Trekland Live. Jump in. You can send more if you like. I appreciate the support for all of our streaming and all of our podcasting. But if you really want to jump in and do more, I'd say go and join Portal 47. We're still planning the big 10th anniversary open house. It's still not quite out of the oven, so I will make sure and let you know how soon we can announce the date and the guest. Meanwhile, it's a Tuesday, and that means it's a new Trek Files. Yeah. Who was our guest this week? It's a great show. Oh, it's Dr. Dave. Is he in the head? Maybe he had Dr. Dave is our guest today because we wanted to recognize it's a human achievement is sticking together. You think about a married couple for 50 years. How about a fan club with all the pressures and the ego and the trends, all the influences on any organization of people that's voluntary? Anyway, so congratulations to the United Federation of Phoenix, celebrating their 50th year today as a Star Trek fan club. Sci-fi too, but still primarily science fiction and Star Trek. And looking back at a news clipping, because it's Trek Files, from 1975, and an era when Gene was doing all he could, and Dorothy, and everyone to support the fan clubs in those crazy early days. That's the Trek Files this week. It was a pleasure to have Dr. Dave on. Go and listen to it anywhere you collect fine podcasts. But thetrekfiles.com is our new home on Memory Alpha, and there's a player with the documents. Those are hard to find unless you go to our page at Memory Alpha, and all the hot links too. Check it out too. All the podcasts.roddenberry.com are awesome. You can join the Patreon and then get into the new Trekophiles. Yes, the Trek Files has its own little live community. There's message boards amid all the Roddenberry podcast shows, and Roddenberry podcast family who have some spin-off message board areas on Discord. And on Discord is where you can pay the $1 a month Roddenberry Patreon, not mine, the minimum $1 a month for Roddenberry, join any of their groups, any of their live experiences. But of course, with me, you want to join us every other Monday at 4 Pacific for Trekophiles Tonight. So yay, the Trek Files finally has its own Discord channel and live Discord show every other Monday at 4. We just had it this last Monday, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. And a lot of you may want to join me over there because we specialize, especially, which is what you do when you specialize, on the Trek Files and our guests and our shows and future ideas. I love it, love it, love it. Otherwise, signing off today, just as a reminder, I'm at Larry Nemechek on Twitter, X, and Blue Sky especially. And it's Larry's Trekland on Instagram, on Facebook, and yeah, here on YouTube. Have you liked and subscribed and rang the bell? And if you really want to deep dive with me, join us in Portal 47, portal47.net. It really is a backstage insider's guide to more in-depth Trek when it comes to Star Trek. Yeah. No post-con blues because Portal 47 is like a mini-con all year long every month, including a great behind-the-scenes guest you're not going to hear from. That's going to do it for us today, gang, here on YouTube and the live recording. Look, I'm just going to say it. Until next Tuesday, stay healthy, would you please? Do all the things. Stay awoke. Check the sources. And trek well. everybody. Of course, you livers know not to go anywhere. We are going to back up. Oh. And see who's here. And hey, Joel and Christoph over in Foz Rotten. I know you've been with us before, Foz. Or is that Roz Fountain? Hey, Carl. There you go. Everybody's here, and you're chomping at the bit maybe to jump in and say something. I did want to say, I saw the Sci-Fi Sisters posting that Sabrina Woods had passed, which was sad. She was an OG first gen Trekker, and I loved talking with her. She brought that perspective to everything. I didn't expect to see that and hear that. And I know everybody who loves following the Sci-Fi Sisters is mourning, but is also remembering Sabrina's legacy. And, we had her as a guest on the Trek Files a couple of times too, because I wanted her perspective. A few years attached to it is the gentle way to say that. And yeah. So anyway, I wanted to spread that out there if anybody hadn't heard yet. Yes. Hey, Trek reviewer, thanks as always. Thank you for being here. Sean, I couldn't have said it better myself. Like, subscribe, and all of that. Oh boy, Derek, I'm so glad you've managed to find cover in war-ravaged Portland. Yeah. There's a war going on, but it's inside somebody's brain. Oh. Who else is here today? Hey, Glenn. Absolutely. What now? Changeling test. Okay, Sean. Tim Russ was recently pictured on the set of what big sci-fi sequel currently being filmed? I think I know. I hope you're out combing for answers. Yep. Oh, look at you. Bought your presents early? Okay. Hey, speaking of my Patreons, how you doing, girl? Okay. Teaser trailer looks good to you. There you go. Well, here you are. I hope it's as good for you as it is for me. Glad to have you, Jess. Let's see. Sean, did you ever have I ever rewatched The Siege? You mean the DS9 episode trilogy? Far-right government is trying to overthrow democracy, and there's files that, if exposed, will bring down the government, but they're being blocked from release. How about that? How about them apples? Yeah. Hoping that Blue Sky adds group chats. I thought I'd read recently that Blue Sky, after the apparent mob action, the stampede from Twitter, finally went in one direction, and it was to Blue Sky. And that's when I started ramping up my Blue Sky a year ago. Well, yeah, almost a year ago after the election. And that now people are leaving Blue Sky because it wasn't perfect or all things. I don't know. Well, it'll always be Twitter. You tweet on Twitter. Why do you walk away from? Oh God, why would you? Oh no, I'm not going to say X. I'm going to X. I'm going on. I read this on X. It sounds like it's poison. Get away from that. It's toxic. There's a skull and crossbones in there. Brand X was always. Oh, forget it. Yeah. Yep. Thank you, Sean. This week's episode of Con was episode of 7 of 9. I see what you did there. Yeah, 7 of 9 on 420 day. and George, and I need to catch up on the newest one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I need to. I'll put the poll elsewhere. I'll get it on Instagram at least. I'd put it on Blue Sky, but there is no Blue Sky poll feature, as I said. You haven't returned to Twitter since they used posts to train their AI. Yep. Okay, but another vote for Starfleet excitement, Academy excitement. Hey, Sydney. Yay, the newly fully employed Sydney, as I understood. Yes. Wait, what? Wait, who's on my YouTube? What? Okay, we'll circle back around here. Okay, you're a wait and see. Oh, a wait and see anime. Okay, there we go. Well, the trailer was very cinematic. See, nobody's faulting the look here that I can, especially since you're mainly seeing scenes from the pilot, where they always splurge on the pilot, right? Not sure if Restream makes this impossible to use, but as far as you know, YouTube has a poll feature for live chats. You could try to ask the TTL community live. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Restream might make it a hoop too far. I'll have to see. Maybe Restream has a live poll feature. I'll see. I'll look at that. I can get all 20 of you, or 30 even, to see what you're thinking. Strange New Worlds clip was fine, but since they can't reveal much, it kind of fizzled at the end. Yep, ended right there at the climax, at the climax, the teaser. Yeah, the hook. That's what I'm saying. Looking forward to SFA and have joined the Academy, but you managed to avoid the trailers. Okay. Hey, Donnie. Hope everyone is well this afternoon, despite the passing of Drew Struzan. Yeah. Oh, there you go, Rashid. Yeah. From London, and you'd heard. Yes. Yeah. And just to say, yeah, big poster artist in a world, speaking of AI, in a world that's sliding down that path. Burnham should have transferred to Starfleet Academy after getting her generals done on Vulcan. Can't tell me, Jay-Z, how happy you are that it's coming out in deep winter, something to look forward to. Oh, January. Yeah. True. Warm the cockles of your heart, no matter what the propulsion system is there. Have to get used to people writing Academy as SFA, my part of the world. That means... Oh, really? Okay. Well, see, it bugs me because Starfleet, I remember having this internally debate in 30 years ago, because Starfleet is one word, even though it didn't start out to be one word. In the original series scripts, it's Star capital F Fleet. But the one time, and the rules of canon, the one time you saw Starfleet written, the first time you saw it, and the one time in the original series, was on the Talos 4 orders that are opened up and read. And there, Starfleet is one word. I just love it, the fact that if Matt Jeffries or whoever did that graphic did that piece of paper fancy for that one shot, which was not common in the original series, and they messed up and didn't leave a space between Star and... If not for that, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But of all the years, we love 3-letter acronyms for our universities and colleges, right? Well, 2. But here's the thing. SA just doesn't cut it. Starfleet Academy is what it technically ought to be. But SA, just for one thing, it has a horrible historical precedent. The SA and the SS. Sorry, my Germanic speaking friends. So, and it just looks soft, or what is it? South Africa? South America? What does SA get confused with? SFA, yeah, even though it's splitting SF in half, Starfleet in half. Hey, Scott. Since it was just a clip rather than a constructed trailer, it didn't give us much of a cliffhanger excitement ending. Yeah. You got to, I mean, it was exciting until the excitement ended. And there you go. Not low ebb tide. We're still on 2.5 month series premiere. That's awesome. That's good. What I mentioned low ebb tide. What did I mean that? I know what I remember I mentioned that in context. Good. No, it's good. Of course, that's partly what I'm asking about. Some people might not be excited, but they're not. I don't think we're on a terrible toxic tubers tear either. Aside from the generic old school, oh, it's Star Trek 90210. You watched the live stream, Carl. The only thing, see, I had OU Texas happening, so I couldn't watch the live stream. The only thing that bugged you was the blackout of the videos that were on the internet 5 minutes afterwards. Just show them at the same time. I know somebody's lawyers are just running loose there. They have to give the congoers their money's worth. Half the congoers could be sitting there in the audience running their devices. Yeah. It's just gotten increasingly, the gap has just gotten increasingly and ridiculously shorter. The minute it's shown in the live event, in the con panel, then it's online. Somebody's hit that button. Yeah. Would STA work better than SFA? Starfleet Training Academy? You don't mean Star Trek Academy. You mean Starfleet Training Academy? I don't know. We've got War College in the title now. We'll see. If you may indulge your absolute fantasy, you'd totally bring back tech manuals if you got to run the franchise. Oh, get in line, Philip. I think it would be better for the productions too. Some people saw that. I mean, the old, it's an anchor around my neck. It's like, no, it's a great story generator. Where did the idea of the saucer crash come from? The scenario that Mike and Rick laid out in the tech manual preemptively. If you're going to saucer sep, what happens if the saucer don't resep, unsep? Yeah, what a concept, Jay-Z. They're exploring. Huh, how about that? Remember when we used to be explorers? Yeah. You are cautious about Academy and more invested in United. I love how that just, Mike Sussman's been talking about that idea for at least a couple of years, 2 or 3 years. And I just love the way it just blew up all of a sudden. After all of the legacy Sturm and Drang of the last year, and yay, passion. It was the same thing with Anson and playing Pike. But it just shows different time. It's all about timing, kids. Where you are and what's the time, and are you in the right place at the right time? That's basically what it is. And that can be the same thing with the pitch for a series. Yep. Oh, an Enterprise G tech manual? That's not going to happen. There's not enough pin down to, who's gonna be picking up the pieces of the Enterprise G at some point in the future? Are you going to tie them down with something from back here? They shouldn't be worried about it, but if you have the wrong kind of person in charge at that time, they'll be pissed off and ignore it. Why should I be held down by some book that was done 8 years ago, or whatever? Or if they're not a board and it's like, oh, this is so cool, let's see what we can do. Yeah. Yep. United isn't happening. Well, it's not happening now. Won't happen for a year or two. Yeah. And then they took the live down right after it ended. Didn't realize they had done that, but there you go. You guys, maybe Starfleet Academy College? SFAC. You got to say what they're for. Excuse me. We're live. You got to say what it stands for. That's not editorial. The most recent Star Trek show to be produced and presented in the 16:9 aspect ratio was Lower Decks. Oh, really? Okay. Ideally, the catch-up should have been Disco's world to build, but they were obsessed with giving us 10-episode arcs about guest characters and universe-threatening enemies. Yes. What a concept. What a concept. This is true, Christoph. Since the era of the acronym, or as we call it, the EOTA, you love that trailer. Which trailer? You love the trailer more than the recent Star Trek STSA? Oh, STSA. Oh, Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Paul Giamatti was so happy at NYCC. Oh, hey, Marina. Yeah, you would think after all, it's like, be careful what you wish for, Paul. You may get it after all these years of fanboying on talk shows. Philip, tell us what you really think. You're not opposed to a Star Trek Academy show, just trying to make it jibe with the 32nd century. This is also a period you're not opposed to. I actually really kind of like the mix of cultures. I mean, yeah, it's a blank slate if they would just do it. If they would pay attention to the fact that they're on a blank slate. 1,000 years is a good amount of time to figure out how to get to know other species. Exactly. A lot of Nala in the trailer. Yes, that's Holly Hunter. Okay, Donnie, you're cautiously optimistic. Post-burn was never really treated like the galactic post-apocalypse setting it should have been. Yeah. Well, you had, yeah. It was a little too quick on the, oh, everything is buttoning up and getting better. Exactly. Imagine getting in on the ground floor of rebuilding the Federation. Pretty exciting. The Federation is the best time period by far for Starfleet Academy. You mean rebuilding the Federation is the best time to set this series in? Okay. Well, they talk about the meta parallel of the cadets are young and finding their way, exploring, finding their way. And the Federation and Starfleet has been made young again and has to refind its way. So that's kind of a parallelism. Yeah, the 32nd century Federation. It's a great, if they'll just do it. If they'll do it, not forget the fact that it's all ho-hum to them as well as to us. I know, Jesse. Me too. Why can't we have both? Why can't we have both? Hey, my figure. Speaking of Harv Bennett, you wonder if there will be some sort of homage to him within the Academy, as in a building named after him. Good question. Was he on the memorial wall? I was going to look at that again now. Derek. Folks must get back to some job hunting reality. Everyone have a fantastic... Oh, you must... Well, Derek, good luck. Good luck. Thanks for chiming in when you can, man. And good luck. Good luck on the hunt. We need real visual effects artists. Yeah, not AI just slopping it together. Oh, thank you, sir. Rumination and illumination. That should be a law firm or something. I don't know. R&I. Ready for a little R&I? Yeah, rumination and illumination. There we go. Maybe I add that to my tagline somehow. Yep. Why would there be an homage to Harv Bennett? Did somebody answer it? He was the first one to really put out the Academy idea as a concept for what would have been Star Trek V. You know what? I don't really care about stream. Boom, you're gone. Hey, Sean, your version of Academy would be the Bajorans finally joining Starfleet and having a 2-year fast track program to bring the Bajorans up to speed at their own academy with other races and species, and DS9 continuity. Yeah, sadly, I think that's not iconically classy enough. Sadly, we're just getting around to where some people think it's cool to talk about the Romulan War and the founding of the Federation. I just love how the world is one. Oh, that's exciting. It's like, I've been saying that for 12 years, 15 years, 20 years. Yeah. Yep. Ever since the movie, which you knew wasn't going to happen, Rick's dying wish as a contracted producer at Paramount, the Hail Mary of trying to do the Romulan War movie. Harv's Academy idea was the third time the idea came up. Well, what with Jay-Z, please tell me what the other two were before that. Oh, you're still, Sean, you're still fleshing out your Bajoran Academy. Okay, sure. Good point, Donnie. If we had seen, if there had been a Cali class, right? If there'd been a USS Beverly Hills in lower decks, because Beverly Hills is an independent city, its call sign would have been NCC 90210. Absolutely. Because it's the zip code, right? Yes. Jay-Z, provocative opinions. Ooh. Cool, Donnie. That figures. Because he was the first AD when Trek started, when he was an AD on Trek, and he got to directing about the same time both ways. Yep. Has humanity forgotten? By humanity, you mean Earth people. The lesson that was 90210? Those who forgot their teeny dramas are doomed to rewatch them. Very good, Joel. Good point-ish. Marina, hey, Bern, I'm glad you're jumping in with us today. My first thought was less teen angst, more an opportunity to carry on with Discovery World. Well, I know they talk about reaching out to that. There's so much emphasis on reaching out to specific audiences. And then you have kind of the throwback blowback, which is the original Star Trek appealed to everyone. Little kids watched it and didn't need their own show, and got excited about it, which is true. 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds were watching the reruns. And a lot of people never even saw the animated. Yeah. But they're not sacrificing acting clearly. Oh, hey, Wanda. So target younger generation, you say this is a boomer and you hope it works. Well, I mean, yeah, but some people have said if you actually micro target different demos you don't get the whole. If you present a whole Star Trek, different age groups will find something of it. You don't have to make the whole series format about that appeal. Which, see, people think Prodigy was like aimed for kids, and that's all. There is so much adult in Prodigy going on. As an adult, I don't mean there's not bedroom scenes. I mean there's a lot for adult fans to bite into, especially as it moves along. And it's kind of behind the scenes, but then the thing about Prodigy is, it reaches up and grab. How long was Rock Talk in that anomaly? It's just mind blowing. Some of that, yeah. What? Giamatti will stop that kegger unless our heroes band together? Okay. Hey, Christian, glad you made it in. Yay. Jay-Z, Greg Strange has had an idea in 1985 to have the Academy as a training ship. You talking about the original draft for what became Next Generation? I didn't remember we did a Trek Files on that. I have a copy of the whole format. Oh yeah. Well, the scope of this Academy show. Whoops. How about coming back? The scope of this Academy show, no way, because it relies on CG. It would have been so clunky and so sad. Yeah, but it was a movie. It was just a script, right? It was just young. Then follow them along. How fast do they get promoted? And now they're young ensigns or whatever. Cool. Okay, so it was a pop-up. It wasn't, good. Well, I'm waiting to hear. Hopefully we'll still get a good report. It won't have faded totally by the time we get back around to Prime Edition of Ask Dr. Trek for Portals. So, yeah. Darn teenagers and their wild ways. Okay, Grandpa. Pity that Maslany wasn't part of the Star Trek Universe panel, even though she was at New York Comic-Con. What's up with that? Picardo will be great as always. Yep. Melanie, and it was just a classic. It was the best TTL ever, and you missed it. It's recorded, it's okay. It's fine. The EMH is kind of in Dracula territory now. Everyone he used to love is dead. Maybe he got better at holonovels, though. This is true. Well, I love the fact that I'm still getting used to the character names. Akka, Holly Hunter's captain, commander, admiral, whatever she is, that she's half lanthanite. Well, half lanthanite and half human. I mean, I want to know what was her parent breakdown there. Which her mother and father were which? Was it lanthanite and human or something else? Because to me, that's like, it's like I'm imagining the mouse and the elephant having babies, only linearly. That's the first thing when they started saying that she was half lanthanite. I'm like, oh my God, what was that parenting trip like? What was that moment like? And what is her poor biology doing? How do her cells? There's a longevity to her DNA and her cellular structure. That's talk about whiplash. Yeah. That's what I want to see. And no, they won't. It's just a convenient excuse for her to have a 400-year-old memory, I guess, or a post-burn memory. Her and the doctor. Was the doctor reactivated, or was he really continuously on for 800 years? I don't know. Does Dracula apply to A1? It does in the Lower Decks comics. We have few 1,000-year-old drama characters in literature to choose from. Yeah. Timothy, Alex Kurtzman is a silent emperor. He never publicly comments on or endorses any of the shows that are being made under. Yeah, he does. He does panel appearances, and he gets interviewed. He gets interviewed in magazine articles, web articles, and things. And he certainly endorses his own shows. I'm not sure what you mean, Timothy. Oh, so Star Trek. Oh, this is your building up to this point. Star Trek is like open source TV material. Have you ever gotten a cease and desist letter from Paramount? Yeah, or had it written into a contract item? Yeah. Waiting for that Con Scouts crossover. Can the kids stop SETI Eagle Meteor? Star Trek has almost become like freeware, available to anyone willing to put the money into making a show based on the original concept, asking as they give a credit. Well, that's kind of what fan films were up until the point of, excuse me, guys, it's raining, it's chill here. Huh. Jared. Hey, Jared. More novels. Good to see you, man. I hope you're well. Yay. And Pedro, boy, everybody's chiming in here today. This has been great. Hey, Pedro. Philip, you're still hoping they eventually do something with Boimler's Section 31 doppelganger and the reality shifting tech. Well, the multiverse wheel, right? It would be great for a reality of the week style story. Yeah, yeah. Hey, folks, just think Rose. It's only 13 weeks till Thursday for Academy. Yeah, that also means we'll be through the holidays. Yeah, and the new year. And the new year. Yes, I mentioned Sabrina earlier. Yeah. Saw the trailer for Starfleet Academy. It's not for you. However, you find it quite funny when they teleport, they get a haircut. Well, it's if you can, if you can kill out a virus, identify and kill out a virus, why couldn't you identify and kill out too many hair cells? I don't know. Mona, good to see you today. Yay. Um, there you go. As someone from another long time Trek assembly. Rose, that's the $6,000 $64,000 question. Well, yes, Christoph. They're not freeware. Yeah. Thank you, Christoph. Oh, I think this too. Okay, Pedro, you saw Tron Ares in the cinema. We're going to branch out to sci-fi movies now. So here we go. I thought it was all right and an improvement over the second movie, Legacy Tron. Yeah, Legacy. People really want to hate it, though, and got called a groomer on chat yesterday. You got called a groomer for liking the Tron movie. Okay. Do people not know what that word means? They keep using it. I agree. I totally agree, Glenn. Oh my God. If Futurama and South Park could go on, and The Simpsons could go on for 20, 30 years, yes, indeed. 40. What's The Simpsons up to? Simpsons started when I was entertainment editor in the paper. In 90? Is it 35 years? What is it up to now? Yeah. Yes, indeed. Yeah. The mainstream media critics always hated Tron, so they hate any YouTuber critics call it the worst film ever because it's not a follow-up to Legacy. Oh, good God. Hey, Rose, that's the tentative date. And yes, it'll be over Zoom with a free ticket. But haven't totally committed. That's the date planned. We'll see how that goes. It's probably not now. It's probably going to have to bump into early November, sadly. We just need some time to promote. I just don't want it getting too close to the holidays. Plus, they don't like it because the CEO on Incom is female, so apparently it's woke. It's as anti-woke as you can get, but you didn't see anything woke in Aries. Okay. Hey, Dave. Okay. But you see everyone. He knows what you've been doing. He knows if you're awake. Too many people are letting the perfect be the enemy of the good, which is how horrible ends up winning. Very true. I know this from my business entrepreneur side, but you can apply that to everyday life and politics. Interesting. You don't like 1982 Tron original, but you love Tron Legacy and you really like Ares. Okay. Yeah, Carl, it's just stupid. It's just so clug-headed. You only need Tron movies to have really big doors. Yep. Well, Pedro, does this extend to Star Trek as well? I mean, there were Tron action figures. What went wrong? The irony is not lost on you that the people complaining about Ares not being a follow-up to Legacy consumed all the MCU and Star Wars stuff, which stopped Disney making a sequel faster. There you go. Oh, there you go. When it gets to the 1982 grid, boom. Starfleet Academy will be airing while we're on the cruise, another theater episode premiere. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, there's 2 Academy actors in the cruise lineup. Well, Jesse, don't let me stop you from making a TikTok. Oh, heavens. I wish somebody would start me making some. Yeah. Oh, Pedro, you're still watching Nerdrotic? Amazed that channels like Nerdrotic discovered are using bot accounts in the comments to trash Tron Ares. For no, it's not. I mean, it's weird, but it doesn't surprise me. Nerdrotic was one of the original toxic tubers. Don't give them any support or number or anything. They tried to trash Trek when Discovery crossed over the radar. Yeah. Spent some of your time in Colombia this past trip watching Trek on Pluto in Spanish. And how was it, Jared? Was it accurate? Was it anything? Timothy, you're not going to watch Academy yourself. You're going to get somebody else to watch it for you. No. You hope that everyone else enjoys the show, though. Okay. Hey, Supervisor 194. I think it's been a while. You've been with us before, right? Both the production values and that ineffable Trekland vibe are clearly present in the SFA trailer. You're definitely on board. Okie dokie. Well, report back to your traveler such. You are very much an outlier to opinions anyway. You neither side with the toxic positivity people or the doomsayers. Are you sure it's not like the doom positivity people or the toxic sayers? You think that's why you have no friends? Your opinions are too obscure or not what's popular. Well, then you get to take you get to make the hot take, right? Or the unpopular take. Oh, sometimes. Don't hedge your bets. No. Unfortunately, Ares is not woke and the YouTubers are crazy for thinking so. Jared Leto saves the female CEO like 3 times in the movie. Okay. Watching Trek in English was good for your English skills. You tried to watch TOS in French, but your young French skills aren't really anywhere useful yet. Je ne sais quoi. The original movie. Oh, I love this whiplash between going back and forth from Tron. Okay. Steve, I don't want you to get in trouble at work. Boomer sooner. Life goes on. Oh, Steve Areno. Thanks for saying howdy, man. Any more detail about how Paramount is celebrating the anniversary, or is more expected to be announced at a later date? You mean more than what they've announced already? Because there's a page at StarTrek.com that talks about all the 50th tie-ins and things. I always got the best ideas. What did I do? What did I do, Jesse? It's been too long since I must have said it. What planet species will still be around? Well, yeah. I mean, if you're going to do that, then let's go there. Let's do it. I thought they were going to do that on Discovery, and then they got caught up with with the screaming baby teenager alien. The wrong place, the wrong time. Caused galactic. Whatever. Yes, Jared, your fiance had no clue what Star Trek was until you showed him a clip of Data and TNG. Then he pointed to the screen and said, Viaje a las estrellas. What, Voyage of the Stars? Something? According to the trailer, the Jem'Hadar are now friendly. Well, 800 years, this is what I mean. Right. I have thought about this. I wonder if there's some kind of a whatever a 32nd century gardener looks like. I wish somebody was kneeling down by a tree by a bridge and had a good scene. I just wish. It's too much. Well, what about them? What about them? Well, you saw the Bajoran Cardassian overlapped, right? Everything is main timeline except the Kelvin movies. Right. Or the first 5 minutes of the first Kelvin movie was Prime, right? You think so? Modern Star Trek is way too violent for kids to watch? I thought they had, and say dumbed it down, but I thought they'd brought it back. Hey, Jim. As long as the teen angst is alien teens. Okay, there you go. Well, that would be something. I mean, you would think in 800 years they'd be, they're going to be free of the addiction. That was the original breeding ground. That was the founders. Yeah, Prodigy was a pleasant surprise. Just got better and better as it went along. Most humanoids will have DNA from multiple planets by then. True. I know, Marina. Seethe is a good word. Yes. Poor rock talk. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I thought that was great. I'm glad they all got there. Yeah, it was kind of a riding off into the sunset if it had to be moment. I want to drink your holographic blood. I know, Jared. I know. Pelia. Remember after 2 seasons of Voyager, the doctor's program broke down because he was on for 2 years. So this is what I said, Pedro. If you watch the news, we did a show with Sean, and only Sean. He was solo on Trek Culture, and I got to this point. I didn't get to some of the things I came up with today. You do hope, Philip, that the new regime loosens some of the restrictions on fan productions someday. We'll see. I think it's half the world ignoring them anyway, and nobody's enforcing because of all the, there's no one asleep. Everyone's asleep at the wheel, except for the most egregious. It's been 6 years. 7 years since the last hoo-ha about that. What is the time period Scouts is set in? Good question. I think it's 23rd, 24th century. Yeah, it's not real clear. Look, they haven't put credits on the episodes, much less told you what time period it is. But one of them has a Targ as a pet, so you would think it's not 23rd century. You would think it's a little later than that. Considering what Pelia collects, probably the Tom Baker one from the museum. This is what Thank you, Carl. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking it was 89. Now, is that including being on Tracy Ullman's show, or is that the series itself? Because Fox started in 87. I remember the sitcom Duet. I had a crush on the single sister in Duet, I think. Oh, you want it to be William Hartnell's Doctor. Okay, the first Doctor. Boy, you guys are like in my wavelength. Right, they were the little shorts in Tracy Ullman's show. Sophia, hello. Has a Beverly Hills 90210 bouquet to it. We'll watch it anyway. Very good. Sophia, I hope things are good in Brazil. There's our South American. Yep. Well, your hubby is the Tron nerd. Okay. No house divided with you, huh? Oh no. What am I hitting you up for, Jesse? I know my thoughts exactly. Ooh, yeah. There is this. There is this. Yeah, Star Wars has their own names. The Fandom Menace. I've just always said the Toxic Tubers, but there you go. Hey, Randy, I know you've been with us before. Welcome back, sir. Um, let's see. The Bring Back Rick Berman crowd. What? What? People actually type that. Wait, you're answering Philip. Oh. Yeah, the Fandom Menace. The problem with your opinions, Pedro, we're back to this. You side with different sides. So sometimes you'll agree with one and sometimes with another. Well, there you go. You're independent. You keep, okay, then keep that. Nothing wrong with that. I will defend your right to do there. The Hollow Gardener. Are we going to get like old clips of Ray Walston? And no. CRISPR is not much better than stone knives and bear skins. Yes, I remember this, Christoph. We had this discussion once before. Well, Dr. Butt Lasers, what is modern Trek's obsession with letting San Francisco be sunny? It always looks like it's deep in smog. Well, now, Dr. Lasers, you're forgetting we have weather modification. I think that's, I want to know what those things are hanging in the air. Are those defensive or is that the weather modification net? You know, the 32nd century version. They had weather modification in the 24th century. Why the refusal to let it be sunny? Yeah. Rose, you're not alone. I think a lot of people wish that they didn't have to all be just crazy negative. Yeah. Now what? Will Academy have a character like one of your fan fiction characters who's half Betazoid and half Vulcan? It seems like an obvious combo to me. Good point. Good point. You'd have the ears and the dark eyes, whether it was a bowl cut or not, right? You just want Stage 9 to be allowed to come back. That was the best thing to be made in modern Star Trek, and it was taken away partly due to jealousy by Paramount. Still hurts. Well, they had a licensee already, and corporately they decided not to have a split license. So that was that. Well, I'll back Text Trek and Crusher Convo. Whatever you were talking about, yes. You wish Paramount would create a show about the background or backstory of the main cast of the TOS series. Oh, like, and then have dramatic actors playing them dramatically? Have it be scripted? There's all kinds of talk and people out there trying to do that with Gene Roddenberry's life. You know, I was at a play reading 8 or 10 years ago. Well, a year or two before pandemic, where a playwright had a biographical play about Gene, and he had his actor friends reading it, and they got up and moved around a little bit. It was mostly a table read, though. Yeah. Ooh, very cool, Marina. Enjoy it. Thanks. Glad you could jump in as always. Oh, Sophia, I was thinking Portuguese. Yes. I've met someone from Brazil at Vegas. I'm sorry for the confusion, but glad to have you. It's been a while. If I had your country right, maybe you'd come back more often. PSA, the Trekland Tuesdays live in 2 weeks, October 28th, will be 1 hour earlier for Europeans. Thank you, Christoph. Thank you, because we end DST 1 week before North America. Thank you for that. And that'll be the weird overlap time. It's only 1 week. Yes. Okay. Hey, butt lasers. Doctor, I should say. Starfleet Academy should let the Doctor have a holographic family again, since B'Elanna isn't around to kill his kids anymore. Wow, long memories, huh? Yeah. What you're doing? You're over here doing a deep dive, Pedro. Either the nerdrotics or the positivity crap, where nothing is ever not shiny. You watch both, but happily criticize both. You criticize Rob Meyer. The one and only time you were at San Francisco, it was sunny and 80s and humid. That's where, did you get some shots of the bridge, the Golden Gate clear? Yeah. Yep. Okay, we got gamers, personal philosophy today, gamers, everybody's all over the map. That's crazy. Pedro, you're Portuguese as well. Your parents are anyway. Okay, yay. Christoph, are you declaring into the chat? Okay. What? You don't always agree with RMB's views, but you do love him so much in what he does. I've known Rob since way back too, but he does this thing on YouTube and makes it work, and I got to hand it to him for that. Yes. There we go. I think we are at the end of the chat. Yes. In honor of all the Tron talk. End of line. Very good, Joel. Very good. Now what? You were on a show with RMB and we were talking about For All Mankind, the proto Star Trek. Yeah. Very good. Very interested in the Doctor's progression after 800 years and how it might affect it. Well, yeah, there you go. Obviously. Okay, gang. I think that's it. Can I re-gauge here? Just a real quick handle. If you are looking forward to, where are we here? Boom. Okay, there we go. Interested in the big tour next year, the week before Vegas, check it out. There's the QR code, or just go to geeknationtours.com. That's the big one. If you really want to blow up and celebrate the 60th in high style and maybe double whack it and get to Vegas, double stack, pile on, have a double whammy. Otherwise, if you just want a simple day tour when you're in LA, I'm still here, treklandtreks.com. Get in touch. We'll have a wonderful day. Be a little simpler. But if you're looking to really blow it up and celebrate the 60th and hit yourself to Vegas, please check us out, would you please? Also, the Trek Files is back. Yes, with Dr. Dave this week, talking about longevity, talking about a 50-year-old fan club, going back to its roots in news with a news clipping, which is hysterical, and talking about how hard it is to have anything last 50 years, much less a Star Trek with all that competing amount of fan passion, the polite way to say it, much less the shifting sands of time and culture around it. The Trek Files, wherever you get your podcast, podcast.roddenberry.com for all the Roddenberry podcasts, or thetrekfiles.com, where you've got the entire 13 season back catalog. We're now into season 14. The player, the documents, and all the hot links too. And you can go to the Mission Log Patreon to get to the Discord boards for all the Roddenberry podcasts and their communities and live shows. Most of all, you want to come over there. It's $1 a month at Patreon Mission Log for our Trekophiles Tonight live show every other Monday at 4 o'clock Pacific. And I'd love it. Some of you do make it there, and I'd love to have more folks go. It's just about the Trek Files, unless we get off talking about Trek in general somehow. And yeah, once again, a big thanks to all of my Patreons in both tiers. Thanks so much, guys, gals, and peeps. If you want to join it, if you want to check it out, patreon.com/Trekland Live, $5 or $10 a month. I really, really do appreciate it. I appreciate all of you for being here Tuesdays. Hang on, we'll have news about Open House, and check out the big geeknationtours.com tour if you would. Otherwise, we're barreling along. Con is wrapping up. I'm on the edge of my seat waiting for more scout meteoroids. And also watching the parade of news that's now in sight for Starfleet Academy's debut. Yes, 14 weeks to go. That means it's 12 weeks till Christmas or something. We'll see how that goes. Gang, thanks so much for joining me here on another Tuesday. Check out the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe here on YouTube. All of that. And trek well, everybody. Hey, Philip, I'll tell you real quick. We have to have at least 10. We have to cut it off at 23, maybe 18, maybe 23. And I think we have 5 so far. So we need a minimum of 10. And then we have to cut it off at either 18 or 23. I need to check back. But we're about halfway to our minimum so far.